All right, shalom, shalom. Before I get started, I want to start off by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekak Chorash, Lai Olam Yum. Double honors to my apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect, the ones out there who are doing this work diligently and chiefly keeping the faith, making your calling and your election sure. I'm going to get right into it. As you can see from the title, it says Willie Lynch, the making of a slave. So, as you can assume, we're going to get into some history here, talking about Willie Lynch, talking about his letters. I actually got the Willie Lynch letters here, and we're going to go into a few of the pages out of here, right? Now, I got pulled up here, several different images on Google concerning Willie Lynch. Now, we're going to get a couple of these pages through the Spirit. Some of these posts are going to bring out something that's edifying, Now, this post here, as you can see, you can zoom into it, screenshot it, zoom into it when you have the time. It says, introduction, equally important is the international nature of the European economic, political, and cultural climate that influenced the slave trade. Within the timescale of African history, or Israelite history, it was a relatively short period, a mere 1.5 centuries, from the most intensive phase of the Atlantic slave trade to the advent of European administration and dominance. Long before that, the slave coast had been chartered by the Portuguese and the people off the area west of Benin, or Benin, however you pronounce that. It says between the Volta River and Lagos, right? European traders traced a cultural history which linked them with the earliest Yoruba settlements to the north and eastern borders of Africa. So this is giving you, like a location. You can visualize this in your mind. Also, you can find these locations on a map today. Another one that I wanted to show. Right here, as you can see, it says the Willie Lynch letter. It says, I have a foolproof method for controlling your black slaves. I guarantee every one of you that if installed correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. My method is simple. Any member of your family or your overseer can use it. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves that make the differences bigger. And make the differences bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control. You see? Now, you can relate this to today's time, okay? This is the state of our people. You got some who fear, you got some who distrust, and you got some who envy for control. That's all they want. They don't want to follow, the Lord. They want to follow Esau, Edom, in hopes to get a better life, in hopes for the bag. Okay, that's our people in a nutshell today. Why? Because, our knowledge has been taken from us, right? And, they have instilled into us what they want us to know, right? We have been programmed in their schools, in their colleges, right? Being raised up in the programming of the devil. Okay, that's what's been going on with our people, man. All right, and the Lord has given a few, right? Let's get that over in Baruch. The Lord has been out here giving a few this truth, right? And that's the book of John, right? Chapter 8 and 32. This is the book of John, chapter 8 and verse 32. It says, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. You see? So the only way you can get out of this captivity mindset is through the truth. Okay? If you don't have this 100% truth, man, you're still a slave in one way or another. It don't matter how much money you have, you still gotta what? Pay what to Caesar. You know, you gotta pay what Caesar unto Caesar. You know, the money. Okay? We're constantly, and how can I say it? We're constantly in captivity until the Lord come, you know, and deliver us, man. Okay, I got a precept real quick. This is Deuteronomy chapter 68 and verse Slakia, chapter 28 and verse 64. It says, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Right? You got our people serving all these gods out here, all of these idols, you know, in this land of captivity. You know, wherever we have been scattered, 2/3 of our people, as well as, you know, us at one point in time, served other gods, you know. And what the Lord has done, he has bestowed upon a few this truth. And now you're able to see how we're in captivity. You're able to see how we were the only nation stacked like sardines, right? And brought to a land against our will, you know? Talking about the so-called blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics, right? The ones who fit the curses that I'm reading right here in Deuteronomy chapter 28, okay? It says, the Lord shall scatter thee. See, it's no guess why we were scattered. It's no guess why, you know, it's no guess on who did it. All right, the Lord is the one who scattered us. Why? Because of our disobedience. You could read about that in Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15, which I'm going to get right here, since I'm already in the chapter, right? It says what? The title, Consequences of Disobedience. Now, who were these curses planted on? Who were these curses on? It was the Israelites, okay? Because the Israelites were the ones who were given the laws. You know, the Israelites were the ones, or are the ones, who, you know, the Lord is dealing with up until this day, okay? So these other nations are not going under these curses. I mean, the curses are slowly going unto them, right? It's slowly going unto them, but and releasing from us, like it says in Deuteronomy 30 and 7, right? But these curses right here are a telltale sign of who the Lord's people are, okay? Now, as you can see, like I said in the title, it says consequences of disobedience. You see, the Lord said right here in Deuteronomy 28 and 15, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. You see? So these curses are on us, man. All right. And this is what Willie Lynch looked into. He looked into the scriptures and he's seen, you know, these curses that are on the people. And what did he do? He put it in a book and he told his people about it, how to control us. Right. He went over these curses, you know, like Esau, Edom is the devil, man. And, you know, they seek out wisdom in order to use against us to keep us down. You see, this is Deuteronomy 28 and 32. It says, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand. You see, this happened to us. This continued to happen to us. You know, this continued to happen to us on a day-to-day basis, man. Do you know how many kids are missing? Do you know how many Israelites are missing? And it's not just because they just, you know, walked away and you know what I'm saying, and now they're homeless and things like that. No, man, these people are taking us, okay? Because if you look on the black market, you know, you can see that melanin is worth like $300 a gram. You think it's not a market out there for that? They telling you how much it costs. So that reveals what? That it's a market for it. And you got Jake constantly being, you know, taken, you know, they're disappearing at record numbers, man. You know, it's not just the so-called blacks. You know, it's the other tribes as well that's going through the same thing, man. All right. It said our eyes shall what? Shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long. You're gonna miss you'll miss your child. If you got children, your child is gone too far, too far away, or you haven't seen them all day. You miss them. Imagine them being taken from you and given it to another people. This is what happened to us, man. You know, and the Lord is going to restore back unto us, what all was lost, man. You know, this is Deuteronomy 28:41. It says, "Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity." You see, this what happened to us, man. We was cursed, okay. And like I said before, Willie Lynch, he opened this. He went into the curses. That's one of the reasons why I'm showing this to you, because I want you to see those who know about it. Yeah, but like Elder Apostle Tahar said, man, you gotta, teach like it's somebody new watching every time, so you gotta go into it, man. All right. Now, these curses, are what Willie Lynch used against us, during his time. And he actually, like I said before, he put it in their words in order for them to understand it so they can utilize it against us, man. And I'm going to go into it, This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 47. It says, "Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee." See, the Lord sent them against us, man, because of our disobedience. So if you ever had the question, why is this happening to us? Why it seem like every time I move forward, I get brought back? This is the answer. We disobeyed our God, so now we're in punishment under these nations, man. Okay? It says, "In hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee." You see? So you got our people walking around without that yoke on their necks. What do that mean? That means they're destroyed. They're destroyed mentally. Our people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge, like the scripture says in Hosea 4:6. You see? He was able to take that yoke of iron up off our necks because he actually successfully destroyed our wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, or at least he thought. But now the Lord, through our apostles, through our elders, were able to understand these words, and in the Lord working with you, you're able to understand these words to bring out what? The truth, because that's all we're doing. We're bringing out the truth, and we're hated for it, but that's okay though. I digress. Let me see here. That's pretty much it on that. Now, like I said before, these are certain pictures that was, that was brought up when I typed in Willie Lynch. Okay. Just going to take a scroll through them. Look at this post by Kanye West. It says, "To make myself clear, of course I know that slaves did not get shackled and put on a boat by free will." That was during the time of that, the time he was persecuting them for what he was saying. As you can see this picture over here, this is the strange fruit, the hanging from a tree. Who's that fruit? That's Jake, man. They do this to this day, okay? I'm showing you this all for a reason before I get into the Willie Lynch book, to give you an idea of what was going on, what's being said about him, Look at this picture down here. You can see disdain, distrust, and envy within Jake, Look at this picture right here. They don't want this type of imagery or pictures being shown, man. They're trying their hardest to get this off, man. Look at this. And they're all sitting there laughing, and this is a Israelite being hung, man. You know, you got the kid, he right there laughing, he back there laughing. You know, these are damn devils, man, demons. But you got people out here that are trying to deliver them and save them. You forgot all about this history. You forgot the destruction that was caused upon our people. You know, but they say what? Remember 9/11. They say, you know, remember the Holocaust. They say, remember this and remember that. But they want us to forget this. They want to replace this. They don't want this history being shown in school. You know, they taking it out the history books. Okay? But this is what happened to us, man. All right, and I just read in the scriptures where the Lord said it will happen. I got another one right here. Look. This is Baruch chapter 2 and verse 9. It says, if ye will not hear my voice, surely this very great multitude shall be turned into a small number among the nations, where I will scatter them. You see? Well, he will scatter us. We have been turned to a small number, even though we're, you know, like the sands of the sea. The Lord has divided us under these nations, man, so that way they can have proper control over us. Okay? You know, the only reason these nations were able to conquer us is because the Lord was on their side. You know, the Lord allowed them to do it. Jacob's a powerful people. You know, these nations couldn't do it without the Lord, man. This is Baruch 2 and 30. It says, for I knew that they will not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. You see, how are we remembering ourselves? We remembering ourselves through this truth. Okay? It's this truth, man, you know, that makes us free. You know, the Lord is allowing us to know the things that we need in order to get salvation. This is Baruch chapter 2 and verse 31. And shall know that I am the Lord their God, or their power, for I will give them an heart and ears to hear. See, the Lord is the one that allow us to understand, right? He is the one that allow us to get these things. So if you understand that you are a slave, if you understand why you are a slave, you know, if you are doing the things that is important, right, to the ministry, then it's the Lord that allow you to do that. It's the Lord that gave you the mind, the ears to hear. You see, this is not no coincidence, man. Okay, the reason why I'm able to go into these Willie Lynch letters like we're about to do and correlate it with the scriptures is because of the Spirit. You know, it's not for my own doing. I'm nothing. You know, I'm a conduit being used, you know, by Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And so are every last like-minded brother, you know, because like the scripture says, you know, we're the temple. Okay. You know, and we rely on that chief cornerstone, which is Yahweh Shai. Okay, now I'm gonna get this one again right here. This says right here, Baruch 2 and 32, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name. That's what's happening now. This is a miracle. All right, we're thinking upon the name of Yahweh, you know, and his son Yahweh Shai. We're praising them literally in this land. We actually say, Kol Halayim Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. All praises to Yahweh, meaning he is or he exists. Bahashem, in the name of Yahweh Shai, right? Yahweh Shai means he delivers or he shall save. Who? His people, right? From their captivity, from their sins, right? This is Baruch 2 and 33. It says, and return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers, which sinned before the Lord. That's what we're doing now. This is the time we're in. You know, we're remembering ourselves, bethinking ourselves, remembering the days of old, considering the years of many generations, right? It says, Baruch 2 and 34, and I will bring them again into the land which I promised with an oath unto their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they shall be lords of it, and I will increase them, and they shall not be diminished. I just read to you future prophecy. Okay, now let's go into this Baruch real quick. All right, let's go into this. We're going into this Willie Lynch letters. It's not gonna be a long lesson, okay? But I just want to hone in on some key things in this, okay? Now let's start with this. This is Willie Lynch letters, right? It's the Willie Lynch letters. Let me get some more light in Salakia. All right, Salakia. Let's see if this is better. Now, this is the Willie Lynch letters, right? Okay, it says the origin and development of a social being called the Negro. Okay, let's go into it. This is like I said on page 12. Okay, it says let us make a slave a slave. What do I need? First of all, we need a black nigger man, a pregnant nigger woman, and her baby nigger boy. I'm reading it verbatim. It says, second, I will use the same basic principle that we use in the breaking a horse, combined with some more sustaining factors. It says, when we do it with horses, we break them from one form of life to another. That is, we reduce them from their natural state in nature, whereas nature provides them with the natural capacity to take of their needs and the needs of their offspring. We break that natural string of independence from them and thereby create a dependency state so that we may be able to get from them useful production for our business and pleasure. All right, what is this going into? Right, in our natural state, like they said, we will actually, take. Nature provides us what we need, and we will take, to be able to feed ourselves and to feed our offspring. That's in a natural state. When you hungry, you go out there and hunt. But what they have done now is created what? A slave, a slave. It's like you. It says a social being called the Negro, right? This is what they created. It says right here in the title, the origin and development of a social being called the Negro. All right. Let us make a slave a slave. This is how they did it. They completely made us what? Dependent upon themselves. And like I read to you over in Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 47, we shall what? We shall be needing clothes, water, food, all of this from our enemies, right? It says cardinal principles for making a Negro. It says, for fear that our future generations may not understand the principles of breaking both horses and man, we lay down the art. For if we are to sustain our basic economy, we must break and tie both of the beasts together, the nigger and the horse. We understand that short-range planning and economics results in periodic economic chaos, so that to avoid turmoil in the economy, it requires us to have breadth, and depth. Let's let it come back. It says breadth and depth in long-range comprehensive planning, articulating both skills and sharp perception. Okay, now what is this going into? Don't fall susceptible to the wording. Okay, what they mean right here by turmoil in the economics, they mean turmoil amongst the Israelites, causing them hell. Okay, we were their economics. The first stock on Wall Street was the slave. So don't be confused by their wording. This is how they communicated with their own people. Okay, they considered us the economy. Okay, this was a word used frequently among them when they were considering their slaves that they had on the slave plantation. Because what did the slaves do? The slaves brought them money they brought them money from cotton. They brought them money from other things, too as well. And it was all for free for that slave master. Once he bought the slave, he was able to work that slave as how he wanted to, And this is what you have to remember, man. This is not no replacement theology. No, this actually happened. Okay, this is not no critical race theory. No, this actually happened. Okay, and we have to focus on this too as well, because this is our history. And the Lord said that, man, remember the days of old, right? Because this truth is what allows us to remember. And the scripture says in Romans 15:4, whatsoever was written aforetime was written for our learning. Roughly paraphrasing the scriptures, man. Okay. Let's continue on. It says, we lay down, now this is on page 13 of the Willie Lynch letters. It says, we lay down the following principles for long-range comprehensive economic planning. Number 1, both horse and nigger are no good to the economy in the wild or natural state. What will be our natural state? Relying on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. That's the natural state of the Israelites. Where you get your food from, you're going to get it from the Lord. The Lord is going to provide you your daily bread. That's the natural state, and that's what we're going to have to go back to. That's what we're in the process of going back to, our natural state as an Israelite. And in our natural state, we are a threat to their society. We're no longer dependent on them. We're dependent on our Lord. You see? And that's why the Israelites are giving them a problem. The ones who truly know, you're upsetting the matrix. You're throwing a monkey wrench in their plans. You see? Now this is number 2. It says both must be broken and tied together for orderly production. You see? They wanted to break us down and feed us their lies, right? And it's spiritual because the Lord is breaking us down again, right? He love a broken and contrite spirit in order for him to teach us this truth. You see, they did the same thing in the flesh. They broke us down. They beat us. Look at this, man. He's got the whip, finna whip him. And if you look closely, the guy is mourning because this slave master got his baby in his hand right there. And the slave master about to whip him. You see that, man? This is what happened to us, man. Okay? In our natural state, we are a problem to them. In our unnatural state, in our dependent state, it's good economics to them. This verse 3, it says, for the orderly futures, special and particular attention must be paid to the female and the young offspring. What do you think is going on right now? As we speak, they're giving our women benefits. They're giving our women the illusion of being a part of their society. They're giving our women the illusion that they're safe, that only they can protect them. And as we continue to read on, you're going to see how they did it. These damn devils going to pay, man. That's why I read over in Baruch, the future prophecy that's coming, because, moving on, man, this is going to, piss some people off, man. And if you're not getting upset or if you're not pissed off about this information, then, you better pray to the Lord and repent, and you got to care, man. This is what happened to us. This is what happened to our people. This is what continued to happen to us, man. And by you caring, by you feeling shame, by you feeling despair, it will urge you to repent. It will urge you to turn to our living power. Okay? This is like I was saying right here, man, they pay close attention to the female and the offspring. It's no coincidence why they uplift our women. All right? This is good economics to them. This is what Willie Lynch told them to do, and if they implement it correctly, they will have us mentally in bondage for the next 300 to 1,000 years, man. Okay? This is what they think. All right, but nah, the Lord upset at that. This is number 4. It says both must be crossbred to produce a variety and division of labor. You see, they mated us just like horses. They mated us just like cows, cattle. That's why Jake is so freaky and shit. All overly sexualized. It's because this is what happened to us in the past. They actually mated us like cattle. They didn't care about the relationships. They didn't care about if that was your mother, your sister, your daughter. They didn't give a fuck about that, And that's why these people got to pay, man. They didn't care. They don't care. And they continue not to care about us. But you got Jake who have Stockholm syndrome. They love their master because they think that loving their master will keep them safe. We have been destroyed so long and so often to the point where it's like, Jake think that they have to kiss the master's ass in order to, make it. This is number 5. It says both must be taught to respond to a particular new language. All right. What was that new language that was beaten to us? It was English, man. We originally talked and spoke Paleo Hebrew, right? We spoke, from our other, captivities, we spoke different languages too as well. And now you got our people speaking Spanish and, Greek and other different languages, because we were brought there in those lands by Edomites, by other nations, and we were servants under them, so we had to what? Learn the language, and it wasn't an easy thing to do. What they did was they destroyed the ones who spoke, the original language, and they, taught the kids English. That's it. They did that for several generations, This is, verse 6, not verse 6, excuse me. Number 6, it says psychological and physical instruction of containment must be created for both. You see, you got a lot of prisons out there constantly being built. And who fill those prisons? Jake. It's primarily Jake in those prisons. It says, we hold the above 6 cardinal principles as truths to be self-evident based on the following discourse concerning the economics of breaking and tying the horse and the nigger together, and inclusive of the 6 principles laid down above. You see, this is the 6 principles that they believe will keep, Jake a slave. And it has been working up until the spirit came out. Now, it says, note, neither principles alone will suffice for good economics. All principles must be employed for the orderly good of the nation. Why do you think their nation is going to shit right now? It's because, the Lord has upset their 6 principles, their 6 cardinal rules, Now you got people out there actually waking up, realizing who they are, knowing that they're slaves, knowing, that Yahushua is coming back, and it's upsetting all of this, right? The people that's being returned back to their natural state, whether these damn devils like it, accept it, believe it or not, it's going to happen. Jake is returning back to the natural state. And when we are in our natural state, no nation can mess with us, man. No, this shit don't happen when Jake is in his natural state. The men right now they're beaten down. The true men that are the true warriors, they are the ones that's in this truth. You got to understand this, man. We are the ones that's really fighting for our nation, whether y'all like it, accept it, believe it or not, man. The true warriors, they're in this truth. The men who you think are warriors, they're not warriors, man. They're not the true warriors, The true warriors are the ones who literally fighting for their nation. And it's not a physical fight now. It's a spiritual fight. But best believe it's going to be physical too. Okay, the Lord is going to change these fishermen into hunters. And we're going to hunt, man. Lord willing, I'm a part of that number. Right now it's not time. A true warrior know when it's time to strike. Okay, and it's not time yet because we don't have our leader, Yahushua. Okay, but when we have that spiritual power, when we get those new bodies and we get into the new covenant, there's nothing these nations can do against us, man. Okay, now let me continue on, man. Now, let's continue. Now, as you can see in the top of it, I got the breaking process of the Israelite man, because this is what they did to us, right? It says, accordingly, now this is on page 14. It says, accordingly, both a wild horse and a wild or natural nigger is dangerous, even if captured, for they will have a tendency to seek their customary freedom, and in doing so might kill you in your sleep. You see, Jake in his natural state is dangerous to Esau Edom and to this whole structure. Okay? It says, you cannot rest. They sleep while you are awake, and are awake while you are asleep. They are dangerous near the family house, and it requires too much labor to wash them away from the house. Above all, you cannot get them to work in the natural state. Hence, both the horse and the nigger must be broken, that is break them from one form of mental life to another. Keep the body and take the mind. In other words, break the will to resist. You see, this is why a lot of our people are not standing up, because they kept the body and took the mind. They're constantly trying to take the mind. They're telling you that things like this never existed. They're telling you, things like this never existed. They're telling us we're indentured service. Nah, man, we were captured. Look at this, man. Look at this. Hang on a tree. This happened at the beginning of the so-called New Year. January 1st, it was a body found hanging. I think it was in one of the southern states, man. It was a young brother that was visiting there for about 2 weeks, and his body was found, mutilated and hung. And you know what they said? They said it was suicide. Jake don't commit suicide like that, man. Jake suffer. Jake go through things, and Jake expand when we're afflicted, Lord willing, Now, I'm not saying nobody does this. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm saying, Jake typically don't do that, man. Okay? And the way his body was mutilated, he couldn't have possibly did it to himself. But it was a slap in the face when the police said it was suicide. You know why? You know why they said it was suicide? Because that was a sundown town, and they all participated in that. Okay? These people are wicked, man. All right, and the Lord is coming to destroy them. Continuing on, it says, now the breaking process is the same for both the horse and nigger, only slightly varying in degrees. But as we said before, there is an art in long-range economic planning. You must keep your eye and thoughts on the female and the offspring of the horse and the nigger. You see, they want to kill as many men off as possible, right? And use a select handful of men that is trained by them, that is their will is not is broken. They want to use those men to impregnate the remaining women. They want to keep the women and a select group of men that can keep in line, that can shut up and be a good old boy. That's what they want. They don't want a natural Israelite like someone in his truth. They don't want that. Okay? They want the woman and they want the offspring of the nigger. You see, it says it right here, man. And this still going on to this day. The so-called black man is despised. They wondering how you not in jail or dead yet. And you can feel the tension in the air, man. It says a brief discourse in offspring development will shed light on the key to sound economic principles. Pay little attention to the generation of Pay little attention to the generation of original breaking, but concentrate on future generations. You see, they do they pretty much, don't give a fuck about those who was in the natural, those who were speaking in Hebrew. No, they wanted to mate them and destroy them and kill them in order to do what? Take their children and teach their children. And that's what happened. It says, therefore, if you break the female mother, she will break the offspring in its early years of development. And when the offspring is old enough to work, she will deliver it up to you, for her normal female protective tendencies will have been lost in the original breaking process. You see, that's what you got. You got silly women, right? You got silly women that have kids and raise them to be emotional and damaging to the community. It says, for example, take the case of the wild stud horse, a female horse, and an early infant horse, And this is going to page 15. And compare the breaking process with two captured nigger males in the natural state. A pregnant nigger woman with her infant offspring take the stud horse, break him for limited containment, completely break the female horse until she becomes very gentle, whereas you or anybody can ride her in comfort. This is what they did to our women. Our women love the so-called white man. They love they love being our enemies, man. They love being nice and sweet to the enemy, but to you, they're hard, they're difficult, they're not humble. They can be humble to their bosses, but they can't be humble to you back at home. You got to listen to them. What they say, go. Why? Because Esau Edom is their husband right now. How do you know when a nation is destroyed? For the women. If the women are on you, you know what I'm saying? Then, you got the nation, you got the men. Okay? That's what's happening to them now. Their women are preferring Israelite men, which shows you that what? A new era is coming, right? Where the Israelite man is going to rule. And guess what? We're going to rule for thousands and thousands of years. Our kingdom will not fall, man. This is, continuing on, it says, completely break the female horse until she becomes very gentle, whereas you or anybody can ride her in comfort. Breed the mare and the stud until you have the desired offspring. Then you can turn the stud to freedom until you need him again. Train the female horse whereby she will eat out of your hand, and she will in turn train the infant horse to eat out of your hand also. This is what's happening. They're speaking it, horse code right now, but this is what's exactly happening in 2024. This is February 13th, 2024. Okay? It says, when it comes to breaking the uncivilized nigger, use the same process, but vary the degree and step up the pressure so as to do a complete reversal of the mind. See, they take the truth and leave you, with lies. Leave you with turmoil, leave you with destruction. This is continuing on in page 15. It says, take the meanest and most restless nigger, strip him of his clothes in front of the remaining male niggers, the female and the nigger infant, tar and feather him, tie each leg to a different horse in opposite directions, set him afire and beat both horses to pull them apart in front of the remaining niggas. This is what they did to us. This is what they did to us to instill fear into the weak males and to the women too as well, man. It says the next step is to take a bullwhip and beat the remaining nigger male to the point of death in front of the female and infant. Don't kill him, but put the fear of God in him, for he can be useful for future breeding. This is why they keep, these docile simp men around to keep breeding, right? That's what they're about, man. But the dude, the Israelite that's in his natural state, they want to make you an example. They want to kill you in front of everybody else to stop the mindset of rebellious, to stop those who are left behind from rebelling. They want to break your will. This is one of the tactics that they use, man. Now, this is the process for the woman, right? This is on page 16. That was the breaking process of the Israelite man. Now, let's go into the breaking process of the Israelite woman. It says the breaking process of the African woman. It says, then take the female, run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desires willingly. Test her in every way because she is the most important factor for good economics. This is why they're putting our women above us in this time, because it's for good economics to them. Okay? And, our women don't even know that, they're being used as a tool against their man. It's straight division. It says, if she shows any sign of resistance in submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her to extract the last bit of bitch out of her. This is in the Willie Lynch letters. This is crazy. You know? This is in the Willie Lynch letters that I'm not making this up, man. Willie Lynch said this to his people, and this is the same thing that they're using to this day. The same process. I'm reading verbatim off the page. It says, take care not to kill her, for in doing so, you spoil good economics. When in complete submission, she will train her offspring in the early years to submit to labor when they become of age. You see? This is what's happening, man. You know, this is what happened to our people. It says, understanding is the best thing. Therefore, we shall go deeper into this area of the subject matter concerning what we have produced here in this breaking process of the female nigger. We have reversed the relationships. In her natural, uncivilized state, she would have a strong dependency on the uncivilized nigger male. Meaning what? In their natural state, in our women's natural state, they're dependent on their man. You know? They're dependent on their man. They love their man. But our women now are in a unnatural state. And it's going to go into it. It says, and she would have a limited protective tendency towards her independent male offspring and would raise the female offspring to be dependent like her. You know, you got women out here saying, I'm the mother and the father. You know, you got women out here, they just super prideful, super masculine, you know. It says nature had provided for this type of balance. See, in nature, in our natural state, the woman is dependent on her man, right? Nature, it says right here, you know, nature has provided for this type of balance, okay? Now, continuing on, it says, we reverse nature by burning and pulling one civilized nigga apart and bullwhipping the other to the point of death, all in her presence. You see, it says, by her being left alone, unprotected, with the male image destroyed, the ordeal caused her to move from her psychological dependent state to a frozen independent state. You see? So our women is walking around here in a frozen state of independency, where you say, they say, I'm an independent woman, I'm this and that. That's unnatural. In your unnatural state, you will be dependent on your man. Just like if you consider the animals out there in nature. Typically, you know, you got the lions consider. The women are, dependent on the man to do what? To bring down bigger prey, to stop other lions from coming in to kill their cubs. You see, that's in a natural state, you know? And it's the same thing with our women, you know? Typically, you know, they will have to depend on, their man, but since, their man was beaten and burned in front of them and they were left alone, unprotected, with the male image destroyed, now they're in a frozen independent state. And then continuing on, it says, as you can see, I got precepts that I actually pulled out earlier, that you can actually rewind the video and go back and see, because, this is pretty much what he did. He went into the book of the law and seen the curses and, brought it to his people. It says, in this frozen psychological state of independency, she will raise her male and female offspring in reverse roles. And this is what happened to our people. And this is what continues to happen to our people. Because over 90%, I think it's 85 to 90% of our households are raised with single mothers. You see, the fathers are nowhere to be found. Whether they went to jail, got killed, or just being useless. It says, independent, it's like in this frozen state of independence, she will raise her male and female offspring in reverse roles. For fear of the young male's life, she will psychologically train him to be mentally weak, independent, but physically strong. You see, this is what she will train her male child to be mentally weak, but physically strong. It says, because she has become psychologically independent, she will train her female offsprings to be psychologically independent. Is this not what's happening? This is what's going on right now. So he was right. They're still instilling these same cardinal principles to this day. And only the elect will actually come out of this whole, system that was put upon us, because this is the way that they're able to control us, man. Through the Willie Lynch letters. But it's ultimately, this truth. It says, what have you got? You got the nigger woman out front and the man behind and scared. This is perfect situation for sound sleep and economics. This is what they want. They want the woman out in front and the man behind mentally weak but physically strong. You see? And you see it in several movies. You got The Woman King. You got, so many different movies out there that depict, Jake behind scared, but the woman out in front. Even Us shows you that. How her husband was just being dragged around and things like that, but she was the one that was, full of understanding and able to, protect her family and things like that. Man, there's so many different movies out there that depicts, us being weak, the man being weak and the woman being strong. But that's all psychological warfare against us. Salakia for the noise in the background. It says, before the breaking process, we had to be alertly on guard at all times. Now we can sleep soundly, for out of frozen fear, his woman stands guard for us. You see? Is this not what's going on? The woman is standing guard for Esau Edom. Back in the past when we went for the master's neck, right, when we tried to break his neck, you had a woman there screaming, to wake him up. No, don't touch master. Why? Because he was giving her benefits. He was saving her. He was protecting her from the other white man and things like that, So now our woman is on guard for them. Now, this is not every woman, The Lord has put the spirit on Israelite women too in these last days to prophesy to, ask questions to their husbands. The women will typically be prophesying through their dreams, and then they'll ask the questions to their husband on what this means, things like that, Continuing on, it says, from out of frozen fear, his woman stands guard for us. You see? That's crazy, man. This is what's still happening to this day. It says, he cannot get past her infant slave process. He is a good tool now ready to be tied to the horse at a tender age. It says, by the time a nigger boy reaches the age of 16, he is soundly broken in and ready for life's sound and efficient work and the reproduction of a unit of a good labor force. You see? So typically by that age, you have been broken, by your mother or by, whoever is watching you. So typically you were raised in a female household, because the men wasn't there. So, by the age of 16, now you're mentally weak, but physically strong. You don't know who you are, where you came from, none of these things, but that's straight, how can I say it? That's straight propaganda, man. Okay, that's the word. That's all propaganda. That's a system that's been bestowed upon us, But now the Lord is breaking the chains, man. It says, continually, though the breaking of uncivilized savage niggas by throwing the nigger female savage into a frozen psychological state of independency, that's what our women are in, a frozen psychological state of independency. The majority of the women are in this state. Now, the ones who, the Lord has bestowed his spirit upon to be, humble, to be lovers of their husbands, things like that, you're set apart from that. Okay, the spirit has set you apart from that. Okay, same with the, Jake, the men. If you're operating in the spirit, it's the spirit that separated you from these cardinal principles. You see, because if you wasn't separated by the spirit, you'll still be caught up. Esau has committed a diligent search to catch you up, man. Okay, he completely came up with the process to do what? To make a slave. All right, and I showed you throughout the video how he done that. Okay, he didn't do that out of his own mind. Nah, he went into Deuteronomy and realized the curses that were upon us, right? And came over and gave the information to his people in this way so they can understand. Okay, so they can implement this process throughout history. Okay, it says, by killing of the protective male image, by creating a submissive, dependent mind of the nigger male savage, We have created an orbiting cycle that turns in its own axis forever. Now look, I got it underlined. It says, unless a phenomenon occurs and reshifts the positions of the female savages. You see? So guess what? You got some of our women out there, that are actually loving their husbands. They're actually, returning to the spirit, asking questions, things like that. That's what's happening. You got some sincere women out there, man. But this phenomenon occurred. What is the phenomenon that happened? This truth. I brought it to you in John chapter 8 and verse 32. The scripture says, you shall know the truth and the truth shall make you free. Free from what? All of the sorceries, all of the plans, the propaganda of Esau Edom. Now it's becoming a reversal. The men are going back to their natural states. Women are going back to their natural state, And that's beautiful. That's a miracle. That's a phenomenon, this damn devil called it, right? It says, we show what we mean by example. Take the case of the 2 economic slave units and examine them closely. You see? Let's continue on. Then I'm going to wrap this up. I don't want this to be too long. An hour is good. Let me get this page right here. This is what they've done. Okay? Now read this. Now this is on page 8. It says, I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and I take these differences and make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. All right, let's get into it. And then I'm going to wrap this up. It says, these methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South. And it's continued to work even up to this day. It says, take this simple little list of differences and think about them. On top of my list is age, but it is there only because it starts with an A. The second, color. The second is color or shade. There is intelligence, size, sex, size plantations, status on plantations, attitude of owners, whether the slaves live in the valley, on the hill, east, west, north, south, have fine hair, coarse hair, or is tall or short. Now that you have a list of differences, I shall give you an outline of action. But before that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy is stronger than adulation, respect or admiration. You see, so this is what they put upon our people. Jake typically do not trust each other. The trust come in when you actually, be around like-minded individuals in this truth. But, distrust is the main thing that's amongst Jake. Jake can't get together to do shit. Most importantly, because if Jake try to get together to do something, Esau Edom is going to take him down. Just like in Tulsa, Oklahoma and shit like that, man. Continuing on the next page, I'm going to rush this real quick. It says, the black slave, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. You see, now that phenomenon happened, which is truth. All right, it says, don't forget, you must pitch the old black male versus the young black, and the young black male against the old black male. You must use the dark-skinned slaves versus the light-skinned slaves, and the light-skinned slaves versus the dark-skinned slaves. You must use the female versus the male, and the male versus the female. Don't you see that happening? They people making podcasts, they going in. It says, you must also have your white servants and overseers distrust all blacks, but it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. Do you see this, man? They put all this turmoil in place, and then on the flip side, they want you to love them. Okay, they distrust you, though. This is what they continue to do up until this day. That Edomite, that so-called white person that smiled at you, just know, more than likely they following this plan. They want you to love them and disrespect your own. They want you to distrust your own, right? But trust them, It says they must love, respect, and trust only us. And this is where you get your coon from. You know, I believe that's it. I'm gonna get another precept real quick. To just leave everybody with. This is Revelation chapter 13 and verse 9. It says, Salakia. Revelation 13 and 9, it says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. So everybody got ears. So this is not what that's talking about. It means if you can understand this. Revelation 13 and 10, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. So the saints are patiently waiting to put our enemies who had us in captivity into captivity. We're waiting for that. We're hoping and we're praying that the Lord deliver this soon, and it's coming. If you kill with the sword, you must be killed with the sword. If you lead into captivity, it's only right that you go into captivity. So these plans of Willie Lynch, man, it's actually going upon their own head. In Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 7, it says what? These curses shall go upon our enemies. Let's get that, then I'm going to wrap it up with that. Just like Willie Lynch went into the book of the law to get these things and put it in a book so they can understand, little did he know that these curses that are upon us will go unto them. This is Deuteronomy 30 and 7. It says, and the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. You see, so a time is coming, and it's coming quickly, where these nations will be under these curses. These nations will be, slaves, okay? And it's coming quickly, all right? So don't worry about Willie Lynch. Worry about this truth, Willie Lynch programming will never work, ever, because of the phenomenon happened. And Jake are waking up. The ones who are going to be destroyed, they have their lot. But for the ones who are waking up and realizing who you are and repenting, you have your lot. And that's going to be with Yahweh Shai as joint heirs. So hopefully this was edifying. I'm going to end it by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rikak, Chodash, Lai, Yum. Double honors once again to my apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Shalom one once again to the elect. Don't let your sins weigh you down. Don't let your iniquities lift up themselves. That's what they want to do. It's our job to repent and keep it moving through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Amen. The trap that these enemies have set upon us, they will fall right into it. Shalom, Yashar. On to the next one.